Hi, my name is Seraphel, and today I am righting my wrongs. If you are a returning viewer, you'll recognize that I worked on the Ghoulia last year, and I hated her. Hate's a very strong word, but I really don't like her. I think there's too much going on in her face, so she just looks really gaudy. And while her hair isn't the worst, I don't really like how I did her thatching. Honestly, I might just not do it at all because I can't be bothered. That would also require a reroot, which kind of feels bad because it's a waste of hair, but I'm determined to like this doll. I'm determined to make a Ghoulia that I like. I'm trying to recall my thought process when I was working on her. I think I had intentions of putting her into that kind of magical girl concept I had going on, except I don't know how to sew, so you'd never really know unless you watch my videos and you hear the context. And I love twin drills, so I gave her these low, super long twin drills, kind of reminiscent of Jinx from League of Legends in her Star Guardian skin. I did a terrible job though. I don't know if I'm going to keep that sort of concept for her, but we will see. If my hands look dry and gross, it is because the weather is very dry and gross. And if you hear a lot of background noise, that is because that's not something I can control, unfortunately. Living next to a busy road things. So now we undo all of my work. It's a bit sad, but it's a price I'm willing to pay. This isn't my first time undoing a doll. I undid a reroot I did on my Twyla. I think it kind of warmed me up as to not being so attached to my material possessions. I don't know how to describe it. But I do get incredibly attached to everything I make, even if I don't like it, which is kind of funny. I don't know, it's kind of sad that I'm gonna be undoing a face that I hate so much, because after this, what am I gonna hate? Okay, I have two options here. I can be reasonable and save this hair because it is perfectly fine, or I can just chop it all off and throw it away. It makes a lot more financial sense to keep it, but I only buy / keep hair on a needs basis, if that makes sense. Otherwise, I'm going to end up hoarding everything, and I don't have a lot of space, so I have to be practical about it. I do have a lot of blue hair. I admittedly bought some with the intention of rerooting this Ghoulia during a sale, and I needed to hit a threshold for free shipping and a discount, but again, I'm willing to keep it for a different Ghoulia in the future, if I ever get to it, because I do think she has a buried secrets doll. So these are the two colors that I got for her, which are Seaside and Lost Cove. I really like Lost Cove because I think it has the bright neon that I originally wanted, because this space is a Neon Frights Ghoulia and I only have her Neon Frights pieces to work with. So that could work. And then Seaside was going to be a highlight, sort of chunky highlight sort of vibe. I might blend them. I don't know. I just realized maybe I would have liked her a bit more if I tied her hair at the back of her head. She looks a lot. Did that make a difference? A little. Ugh, I can't. I look at her part line and I just get irritated. My thatching was so bad. It was because she had so many plugs that by the time I got to the part line, I was just out of steam and I didn't want to continue. My options are keep this hair or replace it with these. Or if I were to cut all this hair and reroot using the same hair, her hair would probably be about this long, which isn't a bad thing. I would just prefer if the hair is longer, so I would have more ease styling it, because trying to tie off short hair is a nightmare. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to cut off her hair. I'm going to keep it in a bag for now, like a crazy person. If I reuse it, I reuse it. If I don't, whatever. And I'm going to reroot her using this. Her hair's kind of cute in the high ponytail too, but God, that face is so distracting me. Get rid of these first because I hate them. Do you keep a giant bag of doll hair, or are you normal? Hi, my name is Seraphel, and I love getting sick when it comes time to do a voiceover. This was supposed to be a scripted video, but things happen, and now I just want to get this video done as soon as possible. And this type of voiceover is the fastest thing I can do to get this over with. I finished Ghoulia's reroot off of camera, but there's plenty of reroot tutorials out there, I'm sure, or you can reference my most recent reroot video, which I can probably edit in somewhere on the screen, where you can see the reroot method that I use for straight hair reroots. It gets things done very fast. And now I'm just removing her face. Rest in peace to this awful Ghoulia face. And she got stained really badly, and I kind of figured this was going to happen because that's just what red and really dark pigments do on lighter color plastic. I decided to use the lightening method that I think is called retro brighting, where you use not acne cream because that embeds itself into the plastic and further degrades it, but hair developer, which is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide works based on heat, but you want to leave it in the sun because the sun provides a very even coverage of heat for the developer to work. That's what I assume, at least. It didn't work for me in this instance, unfortunately, but I promise it really is a useful method for something like a yellowing G1 head. Regardless, I was just gonna cover it up with dark pigment again, so nothing lost. Now I'm just going in and doing my sketch, and since this part is also rather self-explanatory, I'm going to complain. I think this Ghoulia is cursed. It can't be my MSC this time because I'm using a relatively new can. Maybe it's the weather and the conditions made the MSC set weird, but my god, this first layer was so patchy and so hard to put down color that I was getting flashbacks to when I first worked on her. And I was so irritated that I said, you know what, I'm just going to wet my pencils and throw the pigment on there. But that in itself makes the rest of the face up very finicky in my experience, because you're obviously laying down a super thick layer of pigment so that the next time you put MSC and, God willing, that stuff sets correctly, you might risk scratching off the layers of pigment because it's just so thick. Does that make sense? I don't know. At the very least, her pastels were more cooperative, so I was able to put down a pretty good layer of lip color and eyeshadow. My inspiration for this look was Aisha from Everglow. If I had the materials, I would have made that cool eye patch, but I don't. So she's just getting a relatively inspired look. Now that I think about it, she looks a lot like her G1 counterpart as well, so maybe my subconscious kind of pushed that through. With her first layer done, it's time for her second layer, and you can see here what I was talking about earlier, where the pigment will probably come off if you ended up using the wet pencil technique. The only solution I've ever had for this was to just continue to use wet pencil where it was used previously. So here's your warning: if you use wet pencil, then you have to be prepared to commit to doing that for the rest of the face up. We're on her final layer, and she finally gets her eyelashes, which I accidentally did out of camera view. I can't not put something a little sparkly on the face, so I added some of my Vallejo metallic medium on her eyelid. And with her catch lights, she finally comes to life. And another tip is, if you ever make your catch lights uneven or something, then you can always clean up the shape using the color of the eye underneath. And here's the final look for my neon Frights Ghoulia. You can't really tell in these pictures, but I tried my best to do this cute little bow shape with her pigtails. And I also found these metallic caviar beads that you usually use for nail art. And I saw a lot of people use them for piercings on their dolls, so I glued them to her face for the same effect. I'm so happy with how she turned out. I think she turned out so much better than my first attempt at Neon Frights Ghoulia, and she actually looks really good next to my Neon Frights Draculaura. I think they look really cute together. They're like a little pair. Thank you so much for watching, even though this video turned out to be so much of a mess. I don't know, maybe this Ghoulia cursed me. But let me know what you think. Did I make her better? Did I make her worse? Do you think maybe I should try a third time? I probably won't, but you never know. I hope you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!